The NASCAR playoff opener has come and gone. It's time to look at today's big winners and losers from Atlanta. Welcome back into the Breaking Balls channel. It's Bob here. I've got my eye to the sky for any falling Walmart signs just in case. But before we get into today's action, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're always talking NASCAR on a daily basis, whether it's in the garage or in the rumor mill. We'll keep you in the loop for everything NASCAR. So hit that subscribe button here at Breaking Balls. We are finally talking playoff racing. The Quaker State 400, the NASCAR playoff opener at Atlanta this weekend. 10 races left in the season, counting today. Enjoy it while it lasts because it goes by in the blink of an eye. Joey Logano is the first driver to be that much closer to a NASCAR championship, as the 22 team is the first driver to lock himself into the NASCAR round of 12 after a big win at Atlanta today. It's the second win for Logano on the season, third if you count the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro as well. Wow, what do you know? Penske was fast today. Penske at a super speedway having speed. I'm just shocked. This is a team that perennially competes for poles at super speedways like Talladega, Daytona, and now the newly reconfigured Atlanta. It's still weird to me not being that speedy oval. But again, Penske with speed overall today, with Joey Logano winning the race. And Austin Cindric, his teammate, winning stages 1 and 2. A big points day for him as well. Ryan Blaney also in third place. Penske just brought it today. Flat out simple. For Joey Logano, it's redemption for that 22 team as well. If you recall, the two-time NASCAR champion had a round of 16 exit last year after a wreck at Bristol dethroned his chances at a repeat title. So for Joey Logano to get that monkey off of his back, he's already doing better than last year. This is a huge win for the 22 team. Like I said, their second win, third technically on the year. And Ford, they've already turned it on for the summer. But for Penske, they had a huge summer with all three drivers winning. And now Joey Logano, a repeat winner. Absolutely huge for Penske. And for Austin Cindric as well, massive points. We'll get into the playoff standings here in a second. But for Austin Cindric, a guy that was thought to be an easy round of 16 out, might just be a guy that sneaks his way into the round of 12, if not the round of 8 there. So for Penske, a banner day. I'm not talking about Walmart, but a banner day for Penske there today. Otherwise, it was a very straightforward race. Of course, I've seen people debating on social media whether it was a good race or not. I think it was just a straightforward race. There wasn't a ton of action. It was a lot of fuel saving. It was a lot of race positioning. There wasn't a ton of green flag pit cycles there. Couple of single car spins, but for the most part, this was a straightforward race. It was an old school super speedway style race. It did have, in what in my opinion is almost a peak NASCAR moment though, where you've got 10 to go. The racing is getting very, very good. It's green flag racing, so it's just guys getting runs on each other. And then we get a caution for debris. Not your typical NASCAR debris where, we see maybe something out in the distance, we need to stack the field up. No. The Walmart banner under the start-finish line had actually fallen onto the track mid-race. Actually hit one of the cars, I believe, if that replay serves me right. But the Walmart banner falling onto the track mid-race right before a great late race finish that was pure in the playoff opener at a super speedway. It's just peak NASCAR. I'm glad it didn't really completely affect the race because you did have the Noah Gragson spin with 3 to go that got our, I think, 19th overtime restart of the year, if I had my notes down right. 19 overtime restarts in 27 races. NASCAR loves to pull that late race yellow, but it was warranted. I get it. You can't have that on the track, whether it's a Walmart banner or Noah Gragson on the backstretch there. But otherwise, straightforward race, except for a couple of notable incidents. Obviously, the main one is the early one in stage 1. A very, very hard impact for Kyle Larson going into turn 1. I'm not exactly sure still if he blew a tire or what happened there, but the car just snaps violently head-on into the wall. A nasty head-on impact for the 5 team, and then gets hit by Chase Briscoe as he's coming back down the track. 2 playoff drivers DNFing early on in the race. For Kyle Larson, he had, I think it was 40 points to the good coming into the race as the number 1 seed. All that's gone. All that in less than 60 laps, just like that at Atlanta. Kyle Larson's regular season cushion eaten up in the round of 16. If he can get back to the round of 12, of course, he does get that cushion back. But these next 2 races are going to be tough. I know with Watkins Glen and Bristol, his next 2 tracks, he is very good there. There is no bones about it. But for Kyle Larson, it's a position he doesn't need to be in there. And it hurts Chase Briscoe as well, a guy who already was right at the cut line. Now he's in must-win territory almost already with 2 races to go in the round of 16. That was the first notable moment. Another one, though, stage 3, Curtis Buescher got loose and took out both Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. Blaney was able to continue, went on to P3, like I said, but had a lot of tape on the side of that Dent Wizard car. Kind of fitting there. But Martin Truex Jr. derailed his race. Had to come back down later for pit repairs and ended up DNFing in 35th place. And for a guy who came in ranked last in the playoff standings after having to point himself into the playoffs, Martin Truex Jr. did not need this start to the playoffs there. A guy who already seems like is kind of 1 foot out the door compared to the rest of his teammates' results this year. A not great start to the playoffs for Martin Truex Jr. Ryan Blaney was able to salvage it, and Chris Buescher, that's just a tough result there as well. That happened, as well as Denny Hamlin's strategy. Now, Denny Hamlin got caught up in the late wreck right as they were coming to the line to end the race there. But Denny Hamlin said he had a wicked loose car all day and just couldn't really race with it. Said it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth putting himself in harm's way. I understand that, but at some point, you have to realize these are playoff races. You have to race to win, not race to not lose. It's the same thing in any sport. When you see a team with a lead and they're trying to defend, that's when mistakes happen. That's when comebacks happen. And Denny Hamlin raced today way too conservative, in my opinion. I know it's easy to be the armchair driver, but look what happened at the end of the race. Denny Hamlin still had a wrecked race car. No stage points to show for it. And a guy who already had 10 playoff points taken away can't have a result like that, just like his teammate Martin Truex Jr. So for Denny Hamlin, a big misfire today for that 11 team overall, and a track where he hasn't really shown great speed consistently at this new Atlanta, but I expected Denny Hamlin to be better than that, just to race at the back of the pack, almost like a back charter who was scared to wreck their car because they didn't have another one in the shop for next week. But again, that's just me armchair racing. If Denny Hamlin had gotten around a big wreck with 5 to go and, went on to finish 15th, probably we're talking a little bit different. But I do not love the conservative strategy for Denny Hamlin as we look at the actual playoff standings, because he's only 2 points now to the good. Again, he only came in 10 points, I believe, to the good at Atlanta, but leaving even closer now to that cutoff line than he wanted to. And we talked about Kyle Larson, 15 points now. One more DNF. All it takes is one DNF, and we could be talking about Kyle Larson being in a danger zone going into Bristol, or like Joe Logano last year. I think Joe Logano entered Bristol with 6 or 7 points to the good. DNF, boom, out, just like that. So Kyle Larson definitely has to be careful these next 2 weeks. On a positive note, though, we did mention Austin Cindric, 27 points now above the cutoff line. He's in a very good position heading to a road course where, even though at a Cup Series level he hasn't shown it, he has a great road course background and pedigree. So for Austin Cindric and that Penske team, they've got to be feeling good about all 3 of their guys, as Ryan Blaney now leading outside of Joe Logano the overall points standings in the playoff bracket after 1 race. Other guys to talk about, of course, we talked about Chase Briscoe and Martin Truex Jr. with their DNFs. That puts them in a hole. Harrison Burton also just didn't get stage points today and left him at a deficit. Both Ty Gibbs and Daniel Suarez were in contention for that win late. Suarez was able to get stage points today, and his trackhouse team looked very fast. Ty Gibbs, it just wasn't able to put it all together there. And for Ty Gibbs to be leaving only 1 point to the good, I think that they could have been a little bit better with the speed in that car in that 54 today. Alex Bowman, a shout out to him. He was also there in the late race push for the lead. The 48 team, of course, has been in the headlines for rumors this week about who will be in that car next year. Alex Bowman trying to quiet critics and make it into that round of 12. He did a very good job in the first race down. Looks like all the Hendrick guys outside of Kyle Larson feel very, very good. Overall, though, you look at the results for today in Atlanta, a couple of shout outs I do want to give here. Justin Haley in 12th. That Rick Ware Racing team has shown speed all year. Justin Haley, another great finish there. Daniel Hemrick in that Colleague 31 car, 11th place, not too bad. But a guy that I really thought for a second might get that monkey off his back, only because we've been saying it for the last 5 weeks now, is Kyle Busch. Another week where Kyle Busch and that 8 team were hovering around the lead with 20-30 to go. Unfortunately, just the way the race panned out, Kyle Busch was not able to finish it out there and finishes only in P7. But another week where he gets a top 10, as well as Tyler Reddick, who is just churning out top 10s like it's just an average day at the office for that 45 team. The regular season points leader, A lackluster day, even getting caught up on pit road in an incident with Carson Hocevar. Tyler Reddick, fantastic to knock out another top 10. The guy is just versatile on every single track. Again, DNFs for a lot of the notable guys there. Truex, Kyle Larson, Briscoe, Buescher. Shane Van Gisbergen was 4 laps off of the lead pace there. He had suspension damage, it looked like there. Our weekly Harrison Burton mentioned again, 31st there for him as he got caught up in that late wreck. Overall, though, it just felt like everyone was playing nice. When you saw Atlanta as this playoff opener, everyone expected chaos. Oh my God, they've watered it down now, a super speedway track. It was fairly straightforward, like I said earlier today. There wasn't a ton of chaos. Obviously, that Larson wreck was very nasty. Glad to see him get out of that car so quickly. A testament to how safe these cars and tracks are nowadays. But overall, it was just guys playing nice there. And when it did get racy there with 10 to go, you had the Walmart banner fall and kind of water down the track, because I've noticed that it just is hard to generate runs at Atlanta for whatever reason. You can't get these big pushes that you see generated at Daytona and Talladega. Maybe that's just because of the track's shape and how short it is compared to the distance of those two. But I just noticed that it seemed like it was hard to generate runs there. So if you have a 2 or 3 lap shootout to the finish, they're going to stay 2 and 3 wide and not be able to get too far ahead of each other there. But again, Watkins Glen next week as race number 2 of the round of 16 goes into the NASCAR playoffs. We'll be here throughout the week for everything as far as the news and the rumor mill. Silly season still in effect in NASCAR, even though RFK hasn't announced it fully. We expect them and Ryan Preece to announce a 3rd full-time charter. We had a video on that on the channel. If you're new here, again, go ahead and subscribe. We'll keep you in the loop for everything like that here in the NASCAR world. You're not going to miss a thing if you're following Breaking Balls. But we will see you for the next video, whether that's Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday. I'm sure there'll be something in the NASCAR world. If you made it this far, though, thank you again. As always, we will see you next time here at Breaking Balls. Thanks for watching.